Before we dive into all the details about this tax relief, make sure you hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications. I share money-saving tips and financial updates that could put extra cash in your pocket. Also, smash that like button if you want more videos about tax savings and government schemes. Let's start with the burning question that's probably on your mind right now. Why is HMRC giving away money to people working from home? Well, it all started during the pandemic when millions of us were forced to transform our living rooms and bedrooms into makeshift offices. The government recognized that this sudden change meant additional costs for workers, higher energy bills, internet usage, and even basic office supplies. But here's where it gets interesting, and this is something many people don't realize. You don't need to have worked from home for the entire period to claim this relief. Even if you worked from home for just one day during the eligible period, you could qualify for the full year's relief. Sounds too good to be true. Let me explain why it isn't. Think about it. When you work from home, your utility bills increase. Your heating needs to run during hours when you'd typically be at the office. Your electricity usage goes up because you're using your computer, maybe an extra monitor. And let's not forget about that kettle working overtime for all those coffee breaks. HMRC understands this, which is why they introduced this scheme. Now, you might be wondering, but what if my employer already gave me some money for working from home? This is where many people get confused. Even if your employer provided some support, you might still be eligible for this tax relief. The key is understanding what support you've already received and how it affects your claim. Let's address another common question that keeps popping up in my comments section. Do I need to provide proof of my extra costs? The answer might surprise you. HMRC has made this process remarkably straightforward. You don't need to keep receipts or calculate your exact expenses. They've simplified everything with a flat rate relief system. Speaking of simplification, let's break down exactly how much money we're talking about here. The amount you can claim depends on your tax band. If you're a basic rate taxpayer paying 20% tax, you could claim £28 for each year. For higher rate taxpayers at 40%, that number doubles to £56 per year. And here's the kicker, you can claim for multiple tax years, going back to 2020, which is how some people are looking at up to £140 in total claims. But wait, I can already hear some of you asking, what if I only worked from home part-time? Well, here's some good news. The relief isn't prorated based on how many days you worked from home. As long as your employer required you to work from home for even one day during the tax year, you can claim the full year's relief. Now, let's tackle something that's been causing confusion among many viewers who've commented on my previous videos. Some people think this is only for self-employed workers. That's not true. This specific scheme is actually designed for employed individuals who have been asked to work from home. Self-employed people have a different set of rules and can claim their expenses through their self-assessment tax return. Here's a question that might be making you hesitate. Will claiming this relief affect my other benefits or tax credits? I've done the research, and I can tell you that claiming this tax relief won't impact your other benefits. It's completely separate from other government support schemes. Let's talk about the elephant in the room, the deadline. Why is HMRC putting a time limit on these claims? The simple answer is that this was always meant to be a temporary measure to help people during the unprecedented circumstances of the pandemic. As we've moved back to more normal working patterns, HMRC is drawing a line under this particular support scheme. But here's something crucial that you need to understand about the deadline. It's not just about submitting your claim. You need to ensure all your information is correct. If you make a mistake, you might not have time to correct it before the deadline passes. This is why I'm going to walk you through the application process step by step later in this video. You might be thinking, this sounds complicated, do I need an accountant to help me claim? Absolutely not. HMRC has created a dedicated online portal that makes the process incredibly straightforward. In fact, most people complete their claims in less than 5 minutes. Let's address a concern that several viewers have raised in my previous videos about tax relief. Some people worry that claiming this relief might trigger an HMRC investigation into their taxes. While it's natural to be cautious about tax matters, this is a legitimate scheme that HMRC actively encourages eligible workers to use. If you've been working from home since 2020, there's money waiting for you, but time is running out fast. HMRC is about to close their work from home tax relief scheme, and you have just days left to claim up to £140. Want to know the best part? It takes less than 5 minutes to apply, and you don't need any special documents. But before you rush to claim, there's something crucial you need to know. Now, here's something interesting that many people don't realize. This tax relief isn't just about covering your increased energy bills. It can also help offset the cost of equipment you needed for working from home. However, there's a crucial distinction here. If your employer has already provided or paid for equipment, you can't claim for these items. Let's talk about what happens after you make your claim. Many people ask me, how long does it take to get the money? The good news is that once your claim is approved, HMRC usually processes it quickly. For most people, the tax relief is applied by adjusting your tax code, which means you'll see the benefit in your monthly salary. Here's a question that might be particularly relevant for those of you who have changed jobs during the pandemic. What if I worked from home for different employers? The good news is that you can still claim. The key requirement is that you were required to work from home, regardless of which employer mandated it. Now, let's discuss something that often causes confusion: the difference between this tax relief and the equipment costs your employer might have reimbursed. If your employer has already paid you a working from home allowance that exceeds the HMRC rate, you can't claim this additional relief. However, if they paid you less than the HMRC rate, you might be able to claim the difference. One aspect that's particularly important to understand is how this relief works if you share your home with others who also work from home. Each eligible person can make their own claim. The relief isn't limited to one per household. This means that if you and your partner both work from home, you could potentially claim up to £280 between you. Here's something that might surprise you. The tax relief isn't just available for full-time employees. Part-time workers can also claim the full amount, provided they were required to work from home at some point during the eligible period. This is particularly relevant for those who might have thought they weren't entitled to claim. Let's address a practical concern that many people have. What if I don't have access to all my employment records from 2020? Don't worry, HMRC understands that not everyone keeps detailed records. You'll need to know your employer's name and pay reference number, but beyond that, the process is quite straightforward. Now, you might be wondering about the future of working from home tax relief. While this particular scheme is ending, it's worth noting that HMRC does have ongoing provisions for employees who are required to work from home. However, these are more limited and have stricter criteria than the COVID era scheme we're discussing today. Let's talk about what happens if you miss the deadline. Unfortunately, once the deadline passes, you won't be able to make retrospective claims for the tax years covered by this scheme. This is why it's so important to act now, even if you're not completely sure about your eligibility. Here's a crucial point that's often overlooked. This tax relief is per tax year, not per calendar year. This means you need to think about your working arrangements in terms of tax years, which run from April 6th to April 5th. This might affect which years you can claim for. Another important aspect to consider is how this tax relief interacts with other COVID-related support you might have received. The good news is that claiming this relief doesn't affect your eligibility for other support schemes, such as the furlough scheme or self-employed income support. Let's discuss what documentation you should keep after making your claim. While you don't need extensive proof to make the claim, it's wise to keep basic records of when you were required to work from home. This could be as simple as emails from your employer or company announcements about working arrangements. Now, here's something that many people find confusing: the difference between being required to work from home and choosing to work from home. This tax relief is specifically for situations where your employer required you to work from home, not for voluntary home working arrangements. As we near the end of this video, let me share some final thoughts about why this deadline matters so much. This isn't just about claiming what you're entitled to. It's about recognizing the additional costs you've incurred while working from home. Don't let this opportunity slip away simply because you thought the process might be complicated. If this information has been helpful, don't forget to give this video a thumbs up and share it with anyone you know who's been working from home. Time is running out, so make sure you spread the word. Drop a comment below if you have any questions. I'll do my best to answer them all. And remember, hit that subscribe button for more money-saving tips and financial advice. Remember, you have just days left to claim what you're entitled to. Don't wait until it's too late. Head over to the HMRC website now and start your claim. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. This script maintains engagement through regular questions, clear explanations, and a conversational tone while covering all essential aspects of the HMRC work from home tax relief scheme.